So hi everyone. It's great. It's great to be invited to Culture Camp, not to be confused with Culture Club, but it would be great because I'm a musician by trade. So how I've ended up here is a little bit strange, but I think primarily going off what Jen and Helen were saying before, it's because I actually give a monkeys. Funnily enough, I actually care about what we do and what we do to our planet, what we do to our people, how we care for each other, and that's the stalwart of how I built my career and work, over the years, and it's been many years. And I remember back. I remember back to I was 9 years old, and this came out. That changed my life. Punk rock people were really angry. People were they'd had enough, and music kind of evolved into something where you gave a message, and people wanted change, and there was such a revolution. I'm still an old punk now, and I can't get out of it. I'm completely addicted to it. Eat all the new stuff, and I just can't get enough. So I mean, in that regard, the basis of all of this, the basis of these broader collaborations and pieces of work are human beings, and we're all human beings, and we all have needs, and we all have our own little quirks. And so to really gain any kind of traction on that, we need to enhance that, and we need to work on it, and we need to think about the hooks. So everything I'm going to talk to you about today is about hooks, and putting in practice what Jen was just talking about and what Helen was certainly talking about. How do we put that into practice, and how do we make progress in terms of that? Because I'm assuming every single person on this call has kind of had enough. Just you've been sat in meetings, trying to progress pieces of work, and some dementor has come across and said, or you can't do this, or there's too much. It's too much of a risk, or there's way too much governance wrapped around it. And I want you to be angry. I want you to be passionate. I want you to be going away from here today thinking, well, how do I make change? And it's down to each individual to do that. And if you're not happy about things, we need to be upfront, and we need to be talking about it, because at the end of the day, as Helen said, and Juliet said, and Jen said, it's our community. Our job is to enhance people's lives. Our job is to embrace well-being. Our job is to make communities cohesive. Is to allow people to flourish. So how do we do that? So taking those collaborations, what I'm going to give you is a few examples in Cheshire, Merseyside, because I'm in a really privileged position, because almost like the kind of Kofi Annan of health and social care. So for those of you that are kind of my age or a little bit below, Rosemary, the telephone operator on Hong Kong Fui, the person that's joining all those dots. And it's incredible. I'm really privileged, and I'm thankful every day for that. But there are so many opportunities that get missed, because people working in silos, people working in their own little projects. And what the NHS certainly has done over the years is promote competition. Now, competition doesn't help anybody, unless you're running to win a prize, or unless you want to score the winning goal, or you want to get the winning hockey goal, or whatever you kind of play. Competition has not been a great thing, because it just derives. There's always a hierarchy in competition. Somebody always wins. So I got really interested in hooks, and it was based on an encounter I had on a train going to London. Apologies if you've heard this, but I was on a train bound for London, and I sought out someone who was as busy as me, because I had loads to do, I had loads to prep, and I opened my laptop, and this lady across from me opened her laptop. We were typing away, and I've never seen anybody work as hard in all my life. This woman was just a machine. She had two phones going. She was dripping with sweat, and about 10 minutes into it, I was kind of exhausted watching it. So I just kind of looked over my laptop. I said, you need to calm down. I've never seen anybody work as hard in all my life. And she burst out into tears, literally in front of me. Oh, no. What do I do? I was looking around the train. I haven't said anything. I haven't done anything. She was in turmoil. And basically, I put my laptop down and I said, right, we've got 50 minutes before Euston. Let's have a chat. Let's have a chat. And she poured out her life, basically, to this complete stranger who and that was me. And we got off at Euston, we got up, we'd exchange emails, and I told her a little bit about my kids and stuff. And she said, you know what? That was the best 50 minutes I've had in ages. And thanks for listening to my drivel. I just said it was a pleasure. It was intriguing, and it was a pleasure. Now, a year to the day, pretty much a year to that, I got an email, mad woman on train. It said, was the highlight, mad woman on train. And she said, Dave, thanks very much. Things have worked out really well. I'm much happier now, and I'm in a much better place. And she actually worked for Eddie Stobart. She had a really top job at Eddie Stobart. And there was a link to it. And in the link was a picture of a new truck. And on it said, Sally and Alice, my kids. And the well-being that came from that 50 minutes, the kind of, my kids are so made up, even at kind of 18 and 21, they're still looking at Eddie Stobart's trucks now to see their name on it. That 50 minutes changed the way I work, because we've got to give time and we've got to look for each other's hooks. We've got to look at what flows are about. So I'll give you an example. So recently, we've done a big piece of work with the voluntary sector. Now, the voluntary sector is vast. It's huge. So in Cheshire, Merseyside, we've brought together a conglomerate of all the voluntary sector. And with the understanding, so what's the hook in there? So the hooks for the voluntary sector, they're sick to death of year-on-year contracts. Having to put staff at risk at Christmas because they don't know if the contract's coming up in March. Sick to death of being the tinsel on the tree rather than an absolute, bedrock of how we plan. And we brought them all together. We gave a place at the board. We give that belonging, is what Jen and Helen was talking about. So now not only the voluntary sector as part and parcel of our planning a way forward, we can start to lobby and we can start to kind of be more activist in terms of saying, well, the trust has got 5-year contracts with 2-year rolling. Why not the voluntary sector? If they're not doing what they're doing, we look at it and we change it together, surely. Not this nonsense about year-on-year contracts. So there's loads of hooks in that. There's loads of hooks that benefit the community. There's loads of hooks for the voluntary sector. And it's just good all round, just by bringing that conversation together. I've just been on a call this morning with the Housing Association. So again, this is where my job is really privileged. So I brought all the housing sector across Cheshire Merseyside together with one theme. How do we reduce health inequalities? That was the aim. And as you said, as Helen said, that's kind of secondary. But what is in it? And the vastness that comes from housing associations in terms of employment, in terms of opportunities, in terms of growing a platform for younger people into work is massive. And that just took a couple of conversations. So what do you want to do, housing association? We need to get more embedded into health. Great. Health, what do you want? We want to improve the population of Cheshire Merseyside. Great. Well, the two there's just a beautiful collaboration there. Very, very simple, very, very simple hooks. So we launched the social value charter. Now, social value is a really interesting one because it's apolitical. If what can we bring? What added value can we bring back as organisations into our communities? Really, really simple. And what we've done is we put a social value charter together. Then we put an award together. Very, very simple in terms of contracts, the added value, social value. What added value can you bring? But it's just exploded. And then we got into corporate responsibility. And in Cheshire Merseyside, there's about £850 million worth of untapped social responsibility, which means that organisations in industry want to give back to their communities, but don't really know how to do it. So the hooks are industry want to do something. We have priorities in terms of our health and inequalities. Bring the two together and boom, boom, you're away. Give you an example. So Nike gave out 5,000 pairs of trainers. Sorry, it was New Balance. So New Balance gave out 5,000 pairs of trainers. Okay. Now those were old stock, but they went to the most deprived areas in Merseyside. This was. Now I was able to go back to New Balance and say to their board and to their special people, not only by giving out those trainers are you giving your corporate responsibility something, but I can say with good aplomb that by putting those trainers on kids, they've got new trainers so they're not getting bullied. Hopefully they're out in playing sport in the park because they've got trainers on. And you're avoiding that kind of sedentary behavior and all the rest of it. So in simple terms, you're saving lives, my friends. You're adding years to life. Now that boardroom, that narrative completely changed. The language, by using that language, it completely changed. You can see with the grey suits were all harumphing and slapping each other on the back. And that's fine because the hook is that organisation feel good. They feel good about what they're doing. It's not about corporate responsibility and social value. I call it moral responsibility. It's a moral responsibility for all of us to do something. And connectively, by bringing all that together at scale, as Helen demonstrated, we can do something really, really exciting. So our friend who marched across the UK to bring money into the NHS. Now, currently, there's 17 organisations in Cheshire, Merseyside, charitable organisations. And again, I saw this as an opportunity. Let's bring all those charities together. So we brought all those charities together. And again, the hook is we want to do something collective and we want to share and get some ideas about how place is working, because place is sovereign. Each of our 9 places is sovereign. You've got to make sure that at the community level, that's sovereign and you work up from that. We don't want to duplicate. We don't want to trip over people's toes. What we want to do is just get that learning and get that collaboration going. And now we're in a position where all 17 charities have come together and agreed a set of principles, and we're going to sign that off on Friday. It's never been done before, but the hooks are there. Charities want to do more and great stuff in the community, and we want to not lose the essence of that scale and that the bigger piece of work. Social prescribing, as you know, it's dear to my heart. It's taken off and it's absolutely huge now. But we don't want to stop there. Social prescribing and personalisation. These things that I'm saying to you now are all apolitical. You won't get any politician in the land saying we don't really like personalised care. We don't really like social prescribing. It's not what we do here. It's not. It's apolitical. These are easy wins and they're massive hooks. So we haven't stopped there. So we've thought about, when you think about personalisation and you think about the old archaic stuff around personal health budget. So a personal health budget for someone who needs some support, needs getting back on the tracks, or getting somebody with a disability that needs something to happen. It's okay as long as it fits into the very neat holes and the square pegs of health and social care. So I had a horrendous battle many years ago. It was a young chap that I was kind of overseeing and looking after, and he was socially anxious. He was in a bad way, and his only solace was going to footy on a Saturday, and he was socially anxious, but there was something about the football that he loved, and that personal health budget got stopped because we can't pay for someone to go and watch footy, even though that was the most beneficial thing for him. Now, what is that about? What is that about? Loads and loads of stories about fitting into the kind of the hierarchy that we've all evolved into, and it's a nonsense. So listen to that, get fueled up, and every single person on this call is an activist. Every single person on this call is a change agent, and every single person on this call, we had a session where we sent people away calling themselves punk rock pirates. I don't know whether you want to do that or not, but it's up to us all to be those major activists. Otherwise, Helen is continuously going to be talking through her slides. Jen is going to continuously talk about how the methodology of collaboration, look for the hooks. Something has to gain from something. We are human beings. There has to be a hook. You've got to bring those people in and meet their expectations as well as doing good. And I think from that perspective, that's one of the successes that we've seen in Cheshire and Merseyside. I'm now going on a new piece of work I've just gone into. We're doing an ethical framework. Now, we've got carte blanche, so I could do this ethical framework and write it quite easily. You know, these are good ethics about how we work and how we collaborate. But I'm going to do some crowdsourcing. I'm going to go out right into the heart of the community and get 30, 40, 50,000 people telling us what that is, what a good ethical framework is, and how we should be working together and how we should be looking after each other. I'm going to post a song after. I wrote a song just on lockdown. I listened to it again this morning, and it's not too offensive. I don't swear too much in it, but it's as meaningful now as when I was, you know, really dismayed and anxious about lockdown. So I'll kind of share that later. So I'm really happy. So this is all about networking for me, and I'm really happy to collaborate with anybody on this call and have further conversations and learn from you guys and learn from other people that are doing this kind of stuff. I'm dead privileged every day to connect to those dots and build these collaborations. And each and every one of you, I'm hoping, will go off today and plug something in, be your rosemary, plug people together. Now, it might not be as recognized as a lovely report or data that's going in this direction, data going there. Trust me, my friends, this is extremely, extremely important work. So pat yourselves on the back when you do it every single time. And the broader your collaborations, the broader your network, the broader your thinking. Always kind of learn. It's great stuff.